Today we are going to learn about comparing and contrasting. When you compare, you tell how things are alike and or similar. Some of the clue words or keywords that we would read when two things are being compared are also, alike, to, and, similar, same, like, or both. When we contrast, we tell how things are different. Some of those clue words include although, however, unlike, but, not, only, or different. So when we are comparing and contrasting most of the time, we will use these two overlapping circles called a Venn diagram. In the middle, we have how the two things are similar or the same. And on the outside, in the outside circles, we are going to write down how they are different. Let's read this short passage about today's Thanksgiving versus the original feast between the settlers and the Wampanoag Indian tribe. And then we are going to compare and contrast them on a Venn diagram on the next slide. Today's Thanksgiving celebrations are very different from the original feast between the settlers and the Wampanoag Indian tribe. For one thing, while the original feast lasted 3 days, we usually managed to eat our dinner in under 3 hours. And while our Thanksgiving events usually involve our entire immediate family and often extended family and friends, the original event only included men. Our celebrations today almost always involve turkey. While some cultures also add a variety of other main dishes, and some people substitute a goose for the turkey, this is not the same as the settlers' food. Accounts tell us that the Native Americans brought 3 deer to the feast, which may also have included wild turkeys and other game birds, fish, oysters, lobster, and mussels. Potatoes, usually mashed, are a mainstay of current Thanksgiving dinners. But potatoes were not introduced into North America at the time of the original feast. More likely, they ate turnips, greens, and a mash made from corn. Pumpkin pies were also not possible back then, as there was no flour or sugar to be had. Rather, pumpkins and other squash were probably roasted whole with honey, milk, and spices inside. There were many cranberries around, but no sugar with which to sweeten any sauce made with them, so settlers probably ate blueberries and gooseberries. Our Thanksgiving dinners are usually held in the dining room at our dining table. But the houses back then were only one room and too crowded even for the people who lived in them. Their feast was held outside. And while our celebrations give thanks in many ways, the holiday itself is secular, non-religious, whereas the settlers thank God for a bountiful harvest. So on the next slide, we are going to compare and contrast today's Thanksgiving celebration to how it was back then when it first happened using a Venn diagram. So usually our Venn diagram is just 2 overlapping circles, but this time I gave you guys 3 just so you'll be able to easily type in the middle. Here on the left, we're going to write our differences for the very first Thanksgiving. On the right, we're going to write our differences for today's Thanksgiving, and in the middle, we will write the similarities. I've typed one here already. In the passage, we learned that the very first Thanksgiving was about 3 days long, and then it told us that today's Thanksgiving celebration lasts about 3 hours. A similarity is the fact that they are both celebrations. So you are going to complete the rest of this Venn diagram on your own on the next slide. And I have included the passage that I read in this video so you can go back and look at the similarities and the differences between our very first Thanksgiving and Thanksgiving today.